Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning, live edition of Matthews in the Morning coming to you from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, right here in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Comfort Tip Heating Air is your number one local HVAC company. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is their promise. Today's program will consist of Brent Beaird, our college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter, and then JC and Zach will do their JC Wins portion of the program, second half of the show. If you missed it last night, Yankees are done. Hallelujah. Blue Jays can rake, man. They can hit. Seattle and Detroit go play tomorrow, game 5 to move on. Phillies win and the Cubs win. So you got 2 games today. We actually had college football yesterday. Let's go to the Titan Number Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Team. We're joined by, as I said, our college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter, Brent Beaird. Good morning, Brent. How you doing?
Shane, I'm doing well. It's a worthy of celebration that starting yesterday for 49 consecutive days, there will be either college football or an NFL game played every day until November the 26th. So
love it. The only problem with that is that means that we're already almost done with football because that's usually when these games start.
Yeah, I know, and we're at least close to the halfway point of the season, kind of depending on how the off weeks went. But the great thing is, for the next basically 50 days, it's a wonderful time of year.
Yes, it really is. Most watched college football games last week, Brent. I don't know I know nothing about ratings and numbers and stuff like that, so I'm assuming these are good numbers.
Yes, they are. Anything now, this may have changed a little bit, but a few years ago, what we were told was anything over a 4 was really good. And we've got some of those. Vanderbilt, Alabama was a 6.4. Miami and Florida State was a 6. And then Michigan, Wisconsin, Texas, Florida were at least a 4. And right around there was Kentucky and Georgia and Minnesota, Ohio State, and Penn State, UCLA. Shane, the network that has really done well is ABC, because they've got basically a triple header now to go along with that. 32 games into the whopping contract with the Big Ten, CBS is now just getting their first regular season matchup of the season with Oregon and Indiana. Comparatively, the SEC's last 32 games on CBS generated 5 top 10 matchups and 14 to top 25 matchups. So, without getting into too much detail about this, the SEC's done rather well with television ratings.
Yes, they have. Barone71 on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Plummet, asked me which stadium of the new SEC teams that joined in 2012 would have I liked to play in. He has Missouri, Texas A&M, OU, or Texas. Well, I've never been to OU, but I would say Kyle Field. It's ridiculous how big that damn stadium is.
It really is.
And they
over
pack
100,000.
And they pack it, and it is very, very loud. Brent, the highest paid coaches in college football, a lot of SEC boys in there.
Yeah, we forget this at times, but it's amazing the amount of money Kirby Smart, $13.2 million. Ryan Day, $12.5. Lincoln Riley, who a lot of people would dispute this one, 11.5. It's not the amount of money; it's just that he's making that much. Dabo is 11.4. Steve Sarkisian is 10.8. Dan Lanning's 10.4. Taylon DeBoer is 10.2. Brian Kelly at LSU is 10.1. Bill Belichick, who is this is quite interesting, is 10.1, and Lane Kiffin is $9 million. So to be an Ole Miss, Lane is not doing very poorly, is he?
$9 million goes a long ways in Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had some sad news within the SEC the last couple of days.
Yeah, Mark Womack has died at 70 years old. He was the executive associate commissioner of the SEC, basically spent half a century in his career. He also served as the chief financial officer. Just a myriad of things that he did. 47 years in the SEC office. Saw a lot of things in the SEC, but we wanted just to mention that real quick. This is quite a surprise in a lot of ways. Mark was one of these guys that when we went to media days and other events, he would kind of be by himself, oftentimes just kind of leaning up against the wall, greeting people and so forth. So, but Shane, I tell you this, as I grow older, dying at 70 is getting younger all the time, isn't it, brother?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We want to give a shout out. A lot of people on YouTube. It's Tommy's birthday, so happy birthday to Tommy. All right. We had some football last night in college. We got some games tonight, and then obviously Friday. There's a game Friday night that really intrigues me, Brent.
Yeah. And the games tonight, real quick: Louisiana Tech at Kennesaw State, Eastern Carolina at Tulane, Southern Miss at Georgia Southern, and Jacksonville State at Sam Houston. Now, these may not be great games, but they're at least football. Cornell at Harvard. This is Friday night. South Florida at North Texas.
That one.
And listen, people may not realize this, Shane. These are two really good teams with good records, right?
The Mean Green, their quarterback is outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're still called the Mean Green,
Yeah.
North Texas.
Yeah.
But yeah, North Texas is going to win that game. They're good.
Right.
They are really good on offense.
Yeah. Yeah, they really are. And Rutgers at Washington and Fresno State at Colorado State. So kind of unusual now to have that many games on Friday. Well, more unusual on Thursday night. We've got 4 on Thursday and 4 on Friday, Shane. How about that?
Yes, for sure. Andy's question for you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says, Brent, do you think Bill Belichick makes it to next year? Rumors say he's talking about a buyout already.
Well, there are a lot of rumors about that. Yes, that's a good question. Shane, I don't know if you've seen them play, but they're not very
just
good
the first
at all.
game of the year.
Yeah. I mean, and the other one's complicated. The North Carolina situation. Cornerback coach Armin Hawkins has been suspended for offering extra benefits to a player, and players on the team were reportedly selling their tickets to the games for cash. So there's just a whole lot going on here and a lot of questions. Again, it's early, but they're and I'll just couch them as rumors for now, but they're rumors that they're trying to come up with a settlement, both of them, Belichick and the school. But I think they'll let it play out and see where it goes. They're certainly not playing well. They've lost their first 3 games by a combined score of 120 to 33. So no, that's a really good question. It would be easy to say no right now, but I mean, some of this may straighten itself out before it's over. And I'm curious what you've heard about this, Shane, but
Well,
it's not a good situation right now, is it?
no, but the reason he took that job and he hired his son is the coach in waiting. So
Yes.
I just don't see how that they can buy him out and make his
Yeah.
kid coach. I just don't know how that's going to work out. Uh, Chris says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, Andy, I'm afraid that's the same thing that would happen to us if we hired Gruden. College is different. Chris, I'll tell you this. I don't even have my name in the hat, and I have a better a chance of being the head coach than John Gruden at Florida. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
There is no way in the world he's our head coach. No way in the world. The Pouncey twins, Mike and Marquise, invite you to try the mango martinis at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, handcrafted with their J.F. Hayden liqueurs. Try those flavors and find your favorite at shopjfhaydens.com. Brent, let's talk about some of the top games around the country, not in the SEC. There's kind of a sneaky game that I think could be sneaky. Ohio State is at Illinois.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt. And that Ohio State being number one, Illinois, people may not realize this, they're 17. I mean, Illinois is 5-1 with this. Now, Ohio State's won 9 straight in the series. They have not lost in Champaign since 1991. But again, in Ohio State beat Minnesota last week very, very easily. But if people haven't watched them, I'm curious what you think. I know this is non-SEC, but that's okay too. I'm curious, Shane, if you've seen much of them and what you think of them. But they are red hot and rolling so far this season, aren't they?
They're very good. I don't think they're nearly as good on offense as they've been in
Yeah.
the past few years. I think Brian Hartline's their play call, or supposedly their play call. I have a feeling Ryan Day will eventually continue calling those plays as the season moves on. The big one, though, in the Big Ten is number 7 Indiana at number 3 Oregon.
Yeah, they're both 5-0. The game being in Oregon. Now Indiana's got another chance against a top 10 opponent. Fernando Menenza and Dante Moore are 2 really good quarterbacks. They're Heisman Trophy contenders, and they will be both on display in this game. So that's going to be fascinating to see that too. And Shane, if I may, we've also got number 15 Michigan at Southern Cal. So that's an NBC 7:30 game. So I know it's outside the SEC footprint, but some big games in the Big Ten coming up this weekend, right?
Yeah, Josh from Wild Mama says, gentlemen, I don't know, this is on the Titan of our text. I don't know if y'all have heard, but apparently it's being voted on and likely to pass that due to NIL contracts, if the coach is fired, players aren't allowed to go into the portal until 5 days after a new coach is hired to give that new coach an opportunity to talk to them. If so, I love this. Players in the NFL don't get to just leave a team if the coach is fired. I have not heard that. I don't know why anybody would go into the portal right now because you're
Yeah,
leaving money on the table. As soon as you go
sure.
in the portal, you ain't getting a check from your school anymore. So
Yeah,
I've not heard of any players going into the portal of the coaches that have been fired. Maybe
no.
there are, but those guys are not being paid. I can tell you that. Makes no sense. Um, okay, so Brent, let me pull this up right here. Speaking of coaches being fired, let's talk to SEC, Hugh Freeze and Mark Stoops. Any news out
Yeah.
there?
No, I mean, there's still a lot to be said. Now, I will say this. I have heard with Freeze that if Georgia beats them badly, that they may do something sooner than later. Now, a lot of this is timing, and people are wondering, well, why would you fire your coach right now? Well, if you've got someone who can coach until the end of the year, that helps. But we're seeing this, aren't we, Shane? More and more of every year, it seems like instead of schools waiting to the end of the year, they're firing the coaches if they just think it's not going to work by October, much less November. And again, Freeze may be able to save his job, but it is just not working. There are a lot of questions about Mark Stoops at Kentucky. And there's a lot of rumors about that being a mutual parting of the waves. Now, James Franklin's been mentioned. I don't think that's going to happen, even though they've gotten off to a difficult start, especially the loss to UCLA last week. So, but at the same time, we're watching this pretty closely to where who will be the next to be fired, because we're in a different day, aren't we, Shane? That they're not waiting to the end of the year anymore.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go around the SEC. Big
Yeah.
one at Missouri. They're undefeated. Alabama's rolling in. It's 11 a.m. kickoff. It's a hard place to play. Boring as hell there. Um, although Missouri has not been tested. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I think Alabama's playing as good as anybody in America.
Yeah, they're really rolling right now. The Florida State loss was a real wake up call for them. Had a big win over Vanderbilt, and I give Vandy a lot of credit. They hung in the game. Bama really kind of took things over, beginning about the midpoint of the third quarter, particularly the fourth. Some injuries for Alabama. Some guys who were doubtful. Jalen Mbakwe, who's a wide receiver. Ryan Williams is also the other wide receivers on the injury list, but he should be able to play. A lot of people calling this the biggest game, particularly at home for Eli Drinkwith. Bo Pribula is a really good quarterback for Missouri. Come over from Penn State. The guy that everybody's looking at that's just kind of come out of nowhere is Amon Hardy, who not only leads the SEC in rushing, Shane, but leads the nation.
Wow.
So that's going to be interesting to kind of see where that goes. But your point, yes, this is a noon kickoff for both of these teams. So I don't know if you like noon kickoffs or not, but that will be an issue tomorrow for both these teams.
Yeah, Raging Rat on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, QB, what do you think about Spurrier's comparing his Duke team to Billy's team this year? I was on the podcast that Coach does that, but Coach also said, after he said that his Duke team was started 1-3 and won the ACC, he also said we had to play Wake Forest, Maryland, NC State, and these type of teams. The Gators ain't playing them teams, folks.
No.
It's apples and oranges.
Yes.
Not even close. All right. Arkansas at Tennessee. Both teams were off last week. Petrino makes his re-debut as the head coach.
Yeah. That will be interesting. Obviously, Petrino has made staff move. Shane and I mentioned this a few days ago, that it was very interesting how Bobby Petrino is the interim, but he was doing the hiring and the firing, or at least the firing. So they have jettisoned, particularly the D coordinator and Travis Williams. As Shane said, Tennessee off last week after beating Mississippi State. This will be an interesting game, because Petrino basically is coaching to keep this job, is what he's doing. He's got about a 6-game show call, shall we say, to see how he does. So, but don't think for a minute that they won't consider him full time for that job.
Very true. Another big one, the oldest rivalry in the SEC. Auburn hosts the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting too. Auburn was off last week, and they need to play better. They really struggle in the losses to Oklahoma and Texas A&M. Auburn's got a first-team All-SEC defense. They're what people thought would be rolling along would be the offense, but the offense is not doing well at all. Auburn has not beaten Georgia since 2017. That is 8 straight losses. So this is a big one, certainly for Auburn to get back on track. Georgia offensive tackles Monroe Freeling and Ernest Green III have been limited in practice, and they've got all kinds of offensive line issues trying to get guys back. They had some freshmen, Dontrell Glover and Juan Gasson, who had to play last week. So that's going to be very interesting too. But again, Auburn basically being able to pull out all the stops with this game and getting the crowd involved with it and so forth. Now Georgia has been successful and they've won at Auburn. You remember 2 years ago, Brock Bowers caught a touchdown pass in the last 3 minutes of the game. But the thing that is really amazing for Georgia is they have a winning streak now, Shane, against unranked opponents that has gone to 44 games. This is something Nick Saban did at Alabama, and this is what Kirby has done at Georgia. It's one thing to beat the teams you're not supposed to beat from time to time, but to continue a win streak the way these coaches have done against unranked opponents, that's not easy, is it, Shane?
Not at all. Here's a text from Rick from Jupiter wanting to ask you, Brent, do you think this is on the Titan Mar text on Malachi Tony at Miami? Is he a Heisman hopeful?
Well, he may. Yeah. I think he's probably in the mix. Again, that's a good question. This kid has done really well. He's getting a lot of attention right now. Miami's playing well, which has a lot to do with that. Now, again, I'm being honest here. It's been a quarterback award as of late, but that doesn't mean that another position can't win the award. So we'll keep up with that. But the good thing is, as Miami continues to win, guys like him get a lot of attention.
Very true. Another text here on the Titan MR text line from Larry. Larry said, it's great that we had so many players win all SEC of the week awards. However, there were only 2 SEC games played, I believe. Is that correct? I know we had our game and then A&M and Mississippi State play. Were those the only 2 SEC games last week, Brent?
Well, it was a very abbreviated schedule last week because we had we had at least half the league who was off. Now, Bama played Vanderbilt. Also, as we mentioned, Tennessee and Arkansas, they were off.
I'm pretty sure everybody was off. I think there were 2 SEC games.
Yeah, or maybe 3 at the most. There weren't many. That's true.
Yeah. All right, Gators are playing at Kyle Field. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's a great opportunity for Florida to be able to win the game, 3rd straight home game for Missouri. Marcel Reed has 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions to go along with it. I think the thing for A&M is their defense on 3rd and 4th down in SEC play.
Ridiculous.
Shane, can you believe that? 1 for 25.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I've never seen that.
Yeah, really. So, and again, A&M beat Notre Dame to start the season, and Notre Dame probably still going to end up in the playoffs. They may end up running the table. So, look, this is a very good A&M team. They've got a big game against LSU that's coming up at the end of the month. But they are very good on all 3 phases so far. So, and Shane, as you know, they will have a loud, ridiculous crowd for this game. So, Florida has a lot of challenges, don't they?
That is very true. Dan says 9 SEC schools played last week. I don't remember seeing them, but maybe they did. LSU hosts South Carolina. This is a big game, Brent. I saw this. People talk about Florida's schedule. Listen to the next 5 opponents for South Carolina. At LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M.
Oh, yeah.
That might be the hardest stretch I've ever seen in college football.
Yeah, it's certainly one of them, isn't it? Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But this is a big game. Garrett Nussmeier is doing the best he can. I think he's still hurt to some degree. Running back Caden Durham, their best running back, he has an ankle injury. And again, Lenore Sellers, has done a pretty good job. Nick Harbor's wide receiver, 20 yards per catch. Vandarius Jacobs, 17 yards per catch. Can South Carolina hang around in this game? I think is what's going to be interesting. They're coming off a bye week also. And by the way, South Carolina and Miami have canceled their home and home series. They were going to play next year and in 27, so that they will not be playing anymore. So, but you're right. Shane, this is a big game for both of these teams.
Yeah, it's a huge game. Another big game is in the Cotton Bowl. It's a great rivalry, the Red River Shootout, OU and Texas. Word is John Mateer is going to play.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing when you think about it. But, I mean, John Mateer's a tough kid, number one. Number two, I mean, they did a great job with his surgery. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know what they'll do to protect him. Shane, I don't know if they put something on that hand because you've got to be able to use it, obviously, because you've got to get the center, you've got to throw, et cetera, et cetera. But that's going to be fascinating to see if that happens. Needless to say, Texas needs a win very badly. Their quarterback, Malik Muhammad, who missed the Florida game, they think he's going to be able to play. But again, and I know you've talked about this game already, but to me, one of the real concerns for Texas is their line of scrimmage and the struggles they've had there. I know Arch Manning's had some too, but you're right. And this is always a humongous game. Oklahoma has got obviously the better defense, but if Mateer plays and plays well, that's going to make a major difference in this football game.
I don't see how any way Texas wins this game,
Yeah.
unless Oklahoma just plays awful. I just think the physicality of Oklahoma is going to win, but I may be wrong. A game I skipped, Ole Miss is just going to destroy Washington
Yes.
State, and Trinidad
Yes.
Chambliss will have enormous numbers because Washington State is god awful.
Well, they are, and by the way, people may miss this. I mean, Ole Miss is in the top 5. That's the kind of season they're having right now. So,
Well,
but I know they played an easy schedule, but they're making it happen.
well, their season comes down the next 2 weeks. They're at Georgia and home to Oklahoma, and if they win those or win just one of them, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Probably
Yes.
so. So, Brent, give us some nuggets before we get you out of here.
Yeah, Vanderbilt is off. I think they need that. Diego Pavia was slowed down somewhat from Alabama, but still they are playing well. Florida State host Pitt. That will be interesting to see how they kind of revamp. Boy, Miami played well against them. 42 pressures and on Tommy Castellano. So it will be interesting to see if they rebound. I think they will. And I'm curious what you think about Miami. How impressed you were with them? How much you've seen them? I know you've been working obviously during that time, but Mario Cristobal, they're doing a good job. We mentioned Malachi Tony a few minutes ago and what he has been able to do. Ruben Bain on the defensive line, who got hurt in the Florida game last year, has really come around. So, but again, what we have to remember, Miami was undefeated last year going into November and lost 2 games, so it's not over yet.
No, Miami's very good. They could be the best team in America. So we'll see. They don't have much left. Clayton thinks the Gators are going to score 40 plus on A&M. We'll see. I don't know about that. Brent, great stuff as always. Have a good week. We'll talk to you next week, my man.
You too, brother. Always enjoy it. Take care.
That's Brent Beaird. Join us on the Titan No More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. We'll take a quick time out, come back, It'll be Win with JC. Let's see if JC has any winners for all the listeners worldwide. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning on the from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
The jewelry store with the most likes, the most positive reviews, the most raving fans is International Diamond Center.
IDC is definitely a place that I will come to as long as I live here. This will be my go-to place always.
Literally the best jewelry store in town. You'll make friends for life coming in here. I felt like family from the beginning. The value was extraordinary.
I've got a beautiful diamond on my finger and I'm very proud of it.
International Diamond Center.
I'm very happy to show it off.
At Celebration Point and online at shopidc.com.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 national championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spur's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave Los Linderos Tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean head beer coach, 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Linderos Tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Linderos Tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Linderos.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
All right, everybody, good morning. It's time for Win with JC. Here we are for the next 30, 35, maybe even 40 minutes. Your chance to come in on YouTube or Facebook Live and tell us what you think we've got to look forward to this weekend in terms of hitting these bets. Let's make some money. We're also going to have Brian Edwards. You can, of course, find his content on majorwager.com, and he's also the SEC analyst for the Southeastern 16 podcast. So we'll have him on as well, giving us his picks. He's a professional Las Vegas gambler. So we'll have him. I've got a lot of information for you this weekend. We've got games tonight. We've got games on Saturday. And so I'm looking forward to hearing from you as well on YouTube and Facebook Live. Zach will have some of the Facebook Live comments for us, and I will be chatting in with the YouTube. And already we're in with Barone. Let's go. It's time to win some money. You got it, Barone. Chris, Gators score 27 plus, and they win on Saturday. That would be a winning bet if you took the Gators team total over. We've got a lot of picks for you. The Yankees go down. They're done. I had the Phillies last night as a big underdog in Los Angeles. They won. The Cubs and the Tigers still alive in Major League Baseball's playoffs. Let's start off real quick before we bring in Brian and before I go into some of my picks for the weekend and before we start talking about some of the betting splits that I have noticed this weekend for the games. Let's take a look at the quick top 12 that I have in college football, because I think when we talk about polls, really there's only 12 that matter, and it's the top 12 that will qualify for the playoffs. So in college football, the JC top 12, what I think is the 12 best teams in America at this moment right now. Miami, number one. I don't know how you could watch Miami and not think that. Ohio State with its outstanding defense and all the talent, number two. Then there's Mississippi, and until they lose, they are very impressive with their quarterback situation. They've got two guys who can bring it up and down the field. The Ducks with a nice win at Penn State. You've got this weekend's Florida opponent, Texas A&M. We will talk about the Florida game here pretty much in depth. We've got some action on that one that I think could pay off. Texas Tech at number 6, followed by Oklahoma, Alabama, Indiana playing at Oregon this weekend. Watch that Alabama-Missouri game. Missouri coming off an open date. The look-ahead line last week was Missouri +6. That number has come all the way down to 3. There is Missouri at number 10. Very easy schedule. Lots of home games. They host the Alabama Crimson Tide this weekend. Georgia at 11. And then I think Georgia Tech should sneak in there. Let's get an ACC team in there at number 12. As far as this weekend's games go, there are these things called the betting splits. And we're going to talk about the DraftKings betting splits, which basically describe the percentage of dollars bet on the game and the percentage of bets on either side of the game. And I'm going to talk about that here momentarily. But some of the games that I like, just looking at the screen off the top, really are sticking out to me as games that I think we could really take advantage of. And here are some of them. The first one I love is Nevada, Las Vegas laying 6.5 points to Air Force this weekend. Nevada, Las Vegas under Dan Mullen is 5-0. Air Force is 1-4. What I like about Nevada, Las Vegas is they are 4-1 against the spread. Air Force is 5-0 to the over. I like that game as well, going over the total. In the Georgia game this weekend, they are laying 3.5. I tell you, this is going to be a tough game at Auburn. It's a rivalry game. Georgia is 1-4 against the spread. But in terms of the betting splits, 65% of the money is on Georgia and 86% of the bets are on Georgia. So that will tell you what the public thinks. Usually what will happen is if you have more money on one side and fewer bets, that means that a lot of the so-called sharp players in Las Vegas are taking a different tune than the public. You could also take Georgia at -175 in a money line parlay if you want to combine that with some other teams. And then one other game that sticks out to me is an underplay, and I hate unders, but an underplay with South Carolina and LSU going under 44.5. 64% of the money is on that under and only 17% of the bets. So you have a small amount of bets, but a much larger amount of money on that under 44.5. We'll do some more of the betting splits that I noticed this weekend, but I want to bring in Brian Edwards right now from MajorWager.com. He's going to give you all his content on that website. Brian, we do appreciate your time. We love having you with us here for the next 30 or so minutes. You are an SEC analyst for Southeastern 16's podcast. You've been on VEASAN. You are the pro that we turn to, Brian. So we need some help. We need some wisdom on this weekend's games. You gave me some picks earlier in the week to go through, notably in the SEC with Tennessee's team total over 40.5 against Arkansas and Knoxville. I'll let you take it from there, my man.
Thanks, JC, for having me, and apologies to your listeners. That was a piss poor debut with my picks last week. Got backdoored on the BYU game and front doored on the Bama Vandy, which was a heartbreaker. But yeah, to this week, on to the next. I really like this Vols team total to go over. I've seen it at 40.5, a little extra juice, -120 at DraftKings, but I like it all the way up to 42. It was 41.5 this morning at FanDuel at a -108 price. So Tennessee has produced the following scoring outputs so far this year: 45, 72, 41, 56, and 41. They're number one in the nation in scoring. with a 51 points per game average. They are ninth in the country in total offense, fifth in passing yards. And Arkansas defensively, we just saw Notre Dame have 6 first half possessions and 6 touchdown drives and ended up with 56 points. Arkansas 16th in the SEC and 110 nationally in scoring defense, giving up an average of 30 per game. But if you take out the Alabama A&M and the Arkansas State games to start the year, we just judged it on the last 3 games, they would be 135 out of 136 FBS teams in scoring defense. The unit I trust the least in this Arkansas-Tennessee game is Arkansas's defense. So I like the Vols team total over 40.5 or 41.5.
I can't argue with that. They can't stop a thing. They gave up against Notre Dame. I think Tennessee is looking to make a statement here. I would not be surprised to see that game in the 50s for Tennessee offensively. Because, Tennessee, Arkansas is going to try to score quickly with Bobby Petrino to try to keep up. Florida is in College Station. You being a Gator, is this a heart pick, or do you really like this number at 7.5 right now against Texas A&M?
No, I really like it. I think that Florida's offense with Dallas Wilson, as we saw last week, I mean, that's the offense we had hoped we'd see all year. I think the open date gave Lagway. I mean, I know he aggravated that calf. I guess that's what I thought he tore his Achilles initially when I first saw the play.
Yeah.
But I guess it was just a little calf strain, which I guess he's been dealing with since August. But I mean, he toughed it out. And man, with Dallas Wilson, Florida's offense is just a whole different deal. And I like Florida's chances of winning this game outright. The road team has dominated this rivalry, 4-1, both straight up and ATS since A&M came into the league. And the only home win was nonsense the COVID year when Malik Davis fumbled and we had that bad call when Pitts caught that ball and they didn't even review it. It would have been first and goal for the Gators, like early fourth quarter, and then they got the walk-off field goal. Florida had no business winning that game. But what I really loved about Florida last week was this run defense, only 52 rushing yards on 26 attempts for Texas, and that was with Arch Manning. With a bunch of big scrambles, he had 37 rushing yards. But if you take just the Texas running backs, it was 16 rushing yards on 11 attempts. Elko's only 3-7 against the spread as a home favorite. Now, one of those covers was last week, unfortunately, when I had Mississippi State. But I like the Gators catching 7.5, and I think they got a good chance to win outright. One
of the things I noticed on some of the DraftKings betting splits that I'm looking at, because I checked that out on VSiN, is Florida has 62% of the handle and only 39% of the bets, Brian. So it does seem like to me that there is more money coming in on Florida and the public is basically laying the 7.5. So I kind of like the way that counter trend works. The total is 46.5. You got any interest on the total in this game? 73% of the handle on the over, 81% of the bets on the over against this Texas A&M defense and this Florida defense. Is that surprising to you?
Yeah, I don't really have a feel for the total either way. I feel pretty good about Florida on the side. So when I like a side a good amount, I really don't like to. I mean, sometimes you'll have one that's correlated, but if I like a side, I kind of don't want to mess with the total. Just want to have my rooting interest on the side. So not interested in that total.
JC, win with JC right here.
JC.
We've got, go ahead.
Yeah, can I just give a take on the Florida game real quick before we move on?
Zach.
Yeah, this is I just feel like this has got one of those. It's got a classic, like a Billy Napier letdown type of feel to it. Like they just came off the big win against Texas. Everyone feels real good about themselves, and their O line looked good, their D line looked good. But man, this Texas A&M D line, it feels like it's the type of unit that could wreck and take over a game. And I just feel like it's going to be one of those. Billy Napier's only won 2 SEC road games. I feel like it's going to be one of those where you look up and the Gators are all of a sudden getting blown out like 42-14, something like that. I know I hate to be the hater. I really do.
Well, you're not hating. You're trying to win money, brother. It's
right?
Okay. It's trying to win money. This is what we're doing here. I want to stay somewhat agnostic to it. But, yeah, you're not making any friends right now on YouTube or Facebook Live. But thank you for chiming in on that. You're definitely one of the few that believe – well, not you, but – you're with the public on this game, it would seem. Brian Edwards with MajorWager.com. You can catch him as the Southeastern Conference analyst on the Southeastern 16 podcast. Brian, we've got a lot of really good games to go through. I also wanted to go through some of these other games that I noticed with the betting splits being really crazy. Temple, 75% of the handle, only 30% of the bets, getting 9.5 from Navy. I don't know if you have a thought on that. South Carolina plus 8.5 at LSU, 53% of the handle, 33% of the bets. So there's some counter trends for you on the betting splits that I noticed in terms of some of the games this weekend. I like, Brian, I kind of like some of these big favorites, and I am not a big favorite guy. I hate laying big numbers. I can't stand it. But I've never seemed to, I trust Ohio State. And when they play a team like Illinois, everybody's thinking that the Illini, with the resurgence of their football program under Brent Beaird, will be able to keep this game inside of 2 touchdowns. The number's 14.5. Is that too much? Because 80% of the money and it's 61% of the bets is laying 14.5 against Ohio State. You have a feeling on that?
I lean Illinois, but I haven't bet it. I certainly don't love it by any means. Belima as a home underdog. Let's see, has he had any this year? Yeah, so he had the USC cover this year, so he's 6-5 as a home ATS, that is, as a home dog. I feel like the number's a little rich, but man, I backed Illinois in that Indiana game. Now, granted, that was on the road. And that was obviously one of my worst picks of the year. So they disappointed me in that game. I know a lot of the public, or I'm sorry, not a lot of the sharps were on Purdue last week because it was an ideal spot, and Illinois got the cover there. I lean Illinois in my contest where I've got to pick 25 specified games. I'll probably pick Illinois, but I don't think I'm going to be in play on that one. But back to the LSU you brought up. I think the off date, kind of like Lagway last week, I don't think Nussmeier's been right. He's had some sort of abdominal injury going on for I want to say about a month, and I don't think he's played that well because of it. I think you're going to see a better performance out of him. I don't know that I want to lay 8.5, but I like LSU in a teaser or money line parlay, and maybe Tulane with a little Bayou Cajun special, if you will. Tulane tonight is laying 6.5 to East Carolina. And I don't know that I want to lay the 6.5 with Tulane, but I feel pretty good about LSU and Tulane both at home. Tulane just to have to win outright in a teaser, or to win minus 0.5, and then LSU just get them down to under a field goal to minus 2.5. I feel pretty good about that. LSU Tulane. Money line parlay or teaser, depending on your money line prices, whichever works best for you in terms of the odds and payout.
Cajun State parlay. J&J Trucking wants to know about parlays. Typically, parlays are the biggest revenue creator for the book, but they're also some of the most popular bets. So I am not a big parlay guy, but I do know and understand why folks are just enamored with these big numbers that you can get taking certain teams, especially underdogs and parlays. Brian, you mentioned last week Missouri was really looking good at the early line, or the look ahead line, as they like to call it, at +6. That number's come down to 3.5 at Hard Rock at even money. Man, I don't know. 79% of the handle on Alabama, 71% of the bets, 81% of the handle is on the over, with 78% of the bets at 51 on this game. So we're looking at a shootout. What do you think in this one, Alabama, Missouri?
Man, I would have loved to have gotten Missouri +6.5 last week. I think they're in an ideal spot off the open date with 2 weeks to prepare, whereas Alabama's coming off two 60-minute battles. That was a misleading final last week. But, I mean, they go to Athens and have a 60-minute war, and then a huge revenge spot with Vandy after losing in Nashville last year. So, it's hard to be up 3 weeks in a row, and Missouri's had 2 weeks to prepare. However, I can't do it with 3.5. I need more points. So, but I want Missouri. So I'm going to be looking for a live bet. I want Missouri, but I can't do +3.5. Now I'm going to be looking for a live bet or a halftime situation. I hope Alabama gets a lead early, and I would love to get Mizzou. If I could get them +7 or better on a live bet or at halftime, I would love to do that. I would jump.
How great is live betting? It just opens the door to so many more opportunities. You can middle, You can create, you can leverage. You can also try to get back some of the poor decisions you may have made before the game. We talked a lot of SEC football and college football, but I also want to get quickly, Brian, some of your NFL games. I've looked at some of these NFL games, and I've noticed there's just some whopping numbers on the splits with the Eagles, for example. But one game that goes against this number or goes against the trend is the Miami Dolphins. I'll let you get to yours in just a second, but the two games that just scream at me right now on the betting splits, Miami plus 4.5 against the Chargers in Miami, 64% of the handle and only 34% of the bets on the Dolphins. And then you've got Carolina, who plays well at home on occasion, playing the Dallas Cowboys. You would think that Dallas, coming off the big win they had last weekend and really looking good in their game, laying 3 to Carolina at home, 64% of the handle is on Carolina at +3 and only 23% of the bets. On the other side of the coin, you've got the Eagles laying 7 against the Giants, and almost 90% of the money is on Philadelphia and almost 80% of the bets on the Eagles. Anything you see in the NFL for Sunday for our listeners and viewers?
Yeah, I really like the Bucks a lot, and I'm starting to feel Baker Mayfield for MVP, but I feel like I'm a little late to the party. I would have loved to gotten a better number a couple of weeks ago because he's playing fantastic right now. Both of these teams are ravaged by injuries right now, but it sounds like Bucky Irving might have a chance this week. I mean, we don't know quite yet, but they've overcome a lot of injuries on the O-line and Mike Evans being out because of the emergence of the rookie wide receiver, Emeka Egbuka, 7 catches, 163 yards, 1 touchdown last week. He's got 25 catches, 445, 5 touchdowns through 5 games. And Mayfield's just been awesome. 10-1 TDI&T ratio, 1,283 passing yards. Mac Jones and Brock Purdy both missed practice yesterday. I think the 49ers are even more beat up than the Bucks. Now they do have rest advantage after their very fortunate win last Thursday, but I like the Bucks laying the 3. As for tonight's game, I hate road teams on a short week, so I'm not messing with that in terms of the side or the total, but I'm going to go Jackson Dart's rushing yards prop over for the 3rd week in a row. One of my few good picks last week was Dart. So his first 2 career NFL starts, he's had 54 and 55 rushing yards. His player prop rushing yards is in the 35.5 to 37.5 range. I like it over. If we go back to Ole Miss last year and then the 2 games this year, his last 7 starts, he's had 47, 50, 71, 77, 43, 54, and 55 rushing yards. So at least 43 in every game. So over for Dart there.
How about Buffalo, Atlanta on Monday night? Buffalo -4.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong suffering Falcons fan, so I would love to do Buffalo here, but I need to be at 3. I'd love for the Falcons to score first early. If I could get Buffalo -3 live, I'd be looking at that. I am going to go with the Commanders on Monday night. Last year, Lions and Commanders were just automatic picks for me every week, and now that Jaden's healthy, I think I'm gonna go back to that pretty much. The Bears, they got a couple of wins, but over Dallas at home and a comeback over at Las Vegas last week. And they got to go back-to-back road games. I like the rookie running back Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who is playing well for the Commanders, 111 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns last week. And Jaden looked healthy last week. So I like the Commanders there.
I can't argue with that. I think it's amazing how almost aligned we seem to be on some of these picks. I don't know if it's because we think the same way or if we're just lucky about picking these same games. I'm still tripping over Zach coming in here and just hammering Texas A&M. I think that's great. It's okay, Zach. It's okay. You can sponsor this show. We need help. We always need people looking forward to talking about gambling and sports wagering. And we're trying to bring that to the audience now. Of course, Hard Rock is the legal sports betting access in the state of Florida. So many other states have the availability. Hard Rock also is alive in many other states. But if you want to sponsor this show, you want to get involved with us and get some press, some pub, just call Freddie there at the bottom of the screen, and we'll start working with you to try to get some support to this 35, 40-minute program that we have every Thursday going into a big betting weekend. Football, basketball, everything that we've got going. Baseball tonight. Brian, you don't do baseball. We don't talk about it a lot, as football season has certainly taken over the headlines. But I can't ignore the big game in Dallas this weekend. A huge rivalry. We saw the Longhorns last week here in Gainesville. They couldn't block anybody. Florida dominating that game. Tell me the rationale behind Texas being favored by 1.5. I'm sure it has everything to do with Oklahoma's quarterback situation. But Oklahoma's defense, last time I checked, is still very healthy. 73% of the money is on Oklahoma. 75% of the bets on the underdog getting 1.5. And 68% likes the over, which is 43. In this game, I don't know if there'll be a lot of points scored with the defenses that we're talking about here. But I also didn't think the Florida game was going over last week either, Brian. What do you think of Oklahoma and Texas in Dallas?
I lean Oklahoma. I think they might have the best defense in the country, and we saw how much Texas's O-line struggled last week. So I think Arch is going to be under a lot of pressure, not mental pressure, pressure from the D line and those big boys coming after him, and they really got after Jackson Arnold several weeks ago. And so I lean Oklahoma. I haven't played it. I don't know. I guess I'm waiting for more clarity on the Mateer situation. But I mean, Michael Hawkins is not bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, no, he's a pretty good quarterback. And I think I like Oklahoma regardless. It's not a strong opinion by any means. I'm sure Sark will make some adjustments and do a better job of putting Arch in some better situations. I thought Arch played okay at times. Obviously, the interceptions were bad, but he was under heat all day. I mean, I thought he made some pretty good plays. So yeah, we'll see on that game. I'm definitely a lean to Oklahoma, and I'll be picking them in my contest. Whether I bet it or not, we'll see.
This is my best bet of the week. I'm going to do it without Mateer. What I saw last week in that burnt orange just shocked me at how inept they are up front. And I think that's where Oklahoma dominates this game. The number at 1.5 is somewhat surprising me. I wouldn't be surprised to see that number come down to maybe even a pick 'em. But I love Oklahoma in this game, Brian. I love Texas Tech as well. I've got them highly ranked in this JC top 12 poll. I know 14 points is a lot. Kansas certainly backdoors that in all likelihood. But Texas Tech is a team that dominates teams on both sides of the ball. We'll see if Texas
They're
Tech,
a machine right now.
They're
a machine right now.
The Matador Club decided to get involved in football, and good for them. They're going to change their logo and everything. Everything's changing at Texas Tech. They learned how to play defense. They've got players. It's going to be great. Do you have a favorite play of the week before we call it quits for this weekend on Win with JC, Brian?
Man, I think that Tennessee team total is my favorite. The one thing that I haven't mentioned, I think NFL wise, I think we've got a good teaser situation with the Colts at home. And then we can go Broncos over in London, the early morning game against the Jets. We basically just need both teams to win outright.
Just win the game.
Yeah, I think Colts and Broncos, fading the Jets is not a bad idea. And Colts have been automatic at home. And man, Arizona, that was a tough one for people in Circus Survivor last week.
That just ruined so many people. That one and Buffalo last week took the Circus Survivor upside down.
And the Rams.
And the Rams, absolutely, on that Thursday night. New England -3.5 against the Saints. Detroit +2.5 against Kansas City. Cincinnati getting 14 at Green Bay with maybe Joe Flacco playing. But I'll tell you, with teasers, Brian, I've always liked to take the dog up because then you don't have to win the game. But in this case, there seems to be such a disparity between these teams. Winning the game should not be a big ask. But then again, you travel across the world, you just don't know what the food's like over there.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I am all over that Tennessee. I'm so glad you came in with that Tennessee team total over 40.5. I think that can be done at halftime, Brian.
Notre Dame did it at halftime.
Notre Dame did it. Arkansas will quit on you. You can see that. And I'll tell you, I think we've got a great card for this weekend. I hope we can make a lot of money. Good luck with your bets, Brian. Again, you can find Brian Edwards on majorwager.com, and he is also the SEC analyst for the Southeastern 16 podcast. Check that out. Just go ahead and search it. And Brian, we really hope you have a big weekend, and we'll catch up with you next Thursday to see how we did, my man.
Thanks, JC. Have a great weekend. Thanks for having me, bud.
You bet. That's it. Win with JC for a Thursday edition here in the middle of October, the best month of the year for football, the best month of the year, period. And I am excited for this weekend's card. Thank you. If you want to sponsor, again, give Freddie a call.